just now tuning in, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and hit the bell. GMS fam, the green room. Oh, let's talk about it. Hey, yo, GMS fam, the green room. Welcome back, man. Happy Thursday to everybody. Just gonna say it, man, right off the bat. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's doing good. You know, we started every show with peace, love, positive energy, good vibes, passing it forward. Hoping that you pass it along as well. Today's show is going to be focused on one thing and one thing only, and that is the topic of slavery being a choice. I wanted to do this because, you know, I was watching clips yesterday of the Math Hoffa show. Shout out to Math Hoffa on My Expert Opinion, and he had Van Lathan on the show, and the conversation of slavery being a choice came up. And, you know, when it first sparked up in the conversation, you know, I thought, you know, Math was joking around at first, like, you know, because he was like, yeah, you know, Kanye, I got your back. And then all of a sudden it was like, nah, he Math really believes and stands on the fact that slavery was a choice. That's what he feels. So let's have this conversation today. I feel like it's important for us, especially as a community, to have this conversation. And first and foremost, let me be very clear. Just like Van and Math did, the debate can be a strong debate. It could even be a semi-heated debate, however you want to put it. But as long as we have respect for each other and each other's points and opinions, whether we agree or agree to disagree, is the more important part of it all. So if you feel that slavery is a choice, or whether you feel like it wasn't a choice, I want us to be able to have this conversation. So don't feel like you can't say anything or type out how you feel in the chat, because this is a place where you can say how you feel. We don't, you know, judge you in that way. It doesn't matter if I agree or not, just because it's my channel, just because it's the GMS show. If you know me, you know that we are open to having dialogue on here. So before I get to the clips, because let me just set it up. The problem with it is, and I'm just going to say first and foremost, I don't agree that it's a choice at all. I don't believe that when you force people to come here and then you instill not just a fear, but a violent, gruesome fear inside of people, that's when people decide whether or not, you know, and it's not even just, it's a psychological thing, you know. It's a psychological thing, and when you really think about it, and to be honest, a lot of people speak from a perspective that they aren't used to, because a lot of people can say that, yeah, it's better to just die, but you haven't made that choice yet. They still treat black people a certain way in this country. I haven't seen any of you niggas choose to rebel or anything like that. Protesting ain't the same as a rebellion back in slavery days. That's what that's the point I'm trying to get at too. And let me just be clear, because before I play the clips or before I play the audio of their conversation, I want to have y'all remember the conversation that was had and why this is even a topic of discussion in the first place, because of Kanye going on TMZ to talk about his opioid addiction. And it went from him talking about how many pills he took a day to saying a whole bunch of different shit. So he had to get checked by Van Lathan on TMZ, and that was the thing that kind of sparked Van's own his own path to doing what he wants to do instead of just being under the moniker of TMZ. Here's a little bit of that conversation and a little bit of what Van said to Kanye during that time. Listen to this.
And I'm not drugged out. These pills that they want me to take 3 of a day, I take 1 a week, maybe 2 a week. Y'all had me scared of myself, of my vision. So I took some pills so I wouldn't go to the hospital and prove everyone right. We are drugged out. We are following other people's opinions. We are controlled by the media. And today, it all changes. You got Tupac and Lennon in that hallway. Today, it all changes. We need to think how to think free. We need to be free thinkers. Then we need to learn how to feel free. People say feel free, but we don't even know how to feel free or think free. Say what you feel, positive or negative. I just got off the phone with J. Cole. He said, how'd you feel when they said the Crips is gonna kill you? I said, man, that was the headline. But when they said they wanted to beat me up, I said, that's great. They're my brothers. They love me. They don't want nothing to happen to Ye. They just want to beat some sense into me. I love Daz. I love the Crips. I love the Bloods. I love everyone. How many people are feeling, how many people felt something that I said today? Raise a hand if you felt something that I said today. Do you feel that I'm feeling, do you feel that I'm being free and I'm thinking free?
Yes.
Candace Owens was in that room that day. I had no idea. Holy, hold up, look at this. Look at this. I had no idea Candace Owens was in that room that day. Did anybody else know Candace Owens? That's crazy. I honestly did not know that. I really didn't know. I had no idea. Let me answer this real quick, because I see Jack Jones here already. First of all, the first thing you said, Jack Jones, when you first came here, the first comment that even popped up, a forced choice, but a choice nonetheless. It can't be both. That's the Kanye mindset. Kanye is somebody who can twist and tangle things and make sense out of something that doesn't make sense, which is what people are doing to try to justify slavery being a choice. It's either you're forced or it was a choice. It cannot be both. You can't entangle the two of them to try to justify your point. Also, to say Ye was right because the people who chose not to chose death, that's not true. That's not true. Harriet Tubman didn't walk up to Massa and say, kill me. She found a way to get the fuck up out of there and try to bring people with her. She didn't just walk up and say, kill me. Also, let me answer this. He said the craziest thing about slavery, most blacks claimed it built America. America flourished from the industrial boom, not slavery. And the Democrats were the people that, if you're here to talk about politics, I don't want to hear you talk about politics. I don't want to hear you talk about politics. I don't give a fuck about Democrats or Republicans. I don't give a fuck about either of them. If you're here to talk about politics, you came to the wrong fucking channel. I don't believe in any of those motherfuckers. They both are trash. They both capitalize off of both sides, and they fearmonger and they race bait and they do all that dumb shit. I'm here to talk about slavery being a choice. Don't move the goalposts to try to talk about blacks claiming it built America. We all know that there was 400 years of free labor. If you don't think that that is building America, I don't know what else to say to you, sir. Anyway, back to this. We got to hear what Van said.
I actually don't think you're thinking anything. I think what you're doing right now is actually the absence of thought. And the reason why I feel like that, because Kanye, you're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to believe whatever you want. But there is fact and real world, real life consequence behind everything that you just said. And while you are making music and being an artist and living the life that you've earned by being a genius, the rest of us in society have to deal with these threats to our lives. We have to deal with the marginalization that has come from the 400 years of slavery that you said for our people was a choice. Every day we have to walk into that truth while you choose to say things that, to be honest with you, dog, are nonsensical. You want to think freely? That's fine. I'll combat your free thought with my free thought because mine is grounded in a reality that I have been given and a reality that I'm going to change, but I'm not going to do it by pretending that the enemies are on the same team as me. And frankly, I'm disappointed, I'm appalled, and brother, I am unbelievably hurt by the fact that you have morphed into something, to me, that's not real. That's the way I feel. Stand on all the coffee tables you want to stand on, say whatever you want to say, but don't throw a stone, then hide your hand like the rest of us are just gonna swallow it. Yay, be yay, I'm off it, forever. Do you, but remember, the life that I live is as a real person, an actual person.
Now the thing is,
Now, I don't want to hear no more of that because we all heard that 5 years ago. What we're here to really listen to is the back and forth now in 2023. Like I said, that was 5 years ago. We are in 2023. And we are back to this conversation of slavery being a choice. Now, although I do understand certain points that people are making when they say that there were slaves that should have just got up and tried to leave. If they all would have rebelled, then who knows what would have happened. Like I said, and it goes the same till today. The way that you are able to control people by the masses is by getting to them psychologically and also physically. If you think that the slaves back then were just sitting there because they were just scared that something might happen without anything actually happening, you're wrong. There is a gruesome, horrific. These are words that don't even describe slavery back then. They had ways of making this shit happen, of making they broke people down to think that people are all supposed to have the same mindset as well is asinine. That's the most craziest thing in the world, to think that people are supposed to have the same mindset or people are supposed to think the same way and do the same things as other people. Do I feel like there should have been a rebellion by the masses? Yes. But do I also think that black people today in 2023 should all think smarter and have more common sense and not have a bunch of motherfuckers giving us a bad rap with everything they do streetwise or whatever the fuck is going on out here in different demographics? Yes, but guess what? Is that going to happen? Is every nigga that gives us a bad stereotype gonna decide one day, hey man, we need to stop this shit? No, this, and it comes down, and what do you think happened to them? Psychologically, when you psychologically destroy somebody, it is a chain reaction from generations to come. You know what I'm saying? I think putting that label on slavery as a whole, saying that it was a choice, I don't know. I can't agree. But here's their conversation that they had, man. Listen to this.
Did they adjust your
Eventually.
salary?
Eventually.
Eventually.
You gotta
Not right
prove
away.
yourself.
Not right away.
Not
I
right
was
away.
doing the tour, I was doing the television show, and I was out on the camera with my, out on the street with my camera.
So you was on television, but you was getting paid the tour guide salary.
Well, here's the thing about the tour guide. The tour guide salary was very low. I'm talking like $8.75 an hour.
But you was on television.
I was on TV, but also I was making tips off the tour. So I was probably making about, at
So you
that
was
point,
getting less money.
I was, no. I was making whatever I was making hourly from them, but I was also getting tips, and the tips were crazy because I was good at the tour.
Right. But once you switched over to TV.
Once I got on
and they
TV,
didn't change.
I proved myself on TV. I never forget. Harvey brings me in the office one day, and he goes, "Yo, we're gonna give you a raise." I never asked for a raise at
But
TMZ.
how long was it before the
Probably
raise?
about 4 or 5 months.
4 or 5 months.
So I never asked for a raise at TMZ.
So was slavery a choice?
Shut the fuck up. You're not a slave if you're getting paid.
It's slavery a choice.
You're not a slave if you get
That's
paid.
slavery.
You're not a slave.
You
if you're
was
getting
on
paid.
TV.
Your ancestors
for 4 or 5
didn't
months.
have
Getting
a
the
choice.
tour, getting the tour money.
I was making $1,100 a week. I was
and
making
you chose that.
I was
And you
$1,100.
chose it.
Ancestors
Yo,
didn't
yeah,
have
I
no
got
choice.
you. I got you.
No, you don't, bro. Y'all niggas wanna equate everything to slavery. Slavery is getting your ass whipped and having somebody make you do something.
I disagreed with you on that point, by the way.
Sure you did.
Which point?
About you disagree because you think slavery is what?
I think there was a choice.
Oh yeah, we've had this argument in here.
And
I'm
I
on
feel
your
like-
side. I'm pro. He's con.
Yeah. So I feel like we praise the people who saw it as a choice. Like
who?
Tubman, Tucson,
Nat Turner.
Mm-hmm.
We praise these people because they saw it as a choice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna try to free my people. I'm gonna die.
Okay, so allow me to retort.
Okay.
I have Harriet Tubman on my chain. I love what you're talking about.
So,
I think that
does that really happen?
that's Harriet right there. Yeah,
That's fire.
don't hate on
Where'd you
it.
get it from?
My man made it for me out there in LA. But look,
Mm-hmm.
so I think that what you're saying, I understand how you feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that what we have to force ourselves to do is to educate ourselves on the life of an American slave. And let me tell you why I say that.
Okay.
Let me tell you why I say that.
Force ourselves.
No. Educate ourselves on the life of an American slave.
Right.
And the reason why I say that is because the more that you know
Uh-huh.
about the history of what slavery was,
Right.
the more you know about the ways in which slaves rebelled against and pushed back against their captivity
Right.
that weren't Nat Turner, Denmark, VC,
Right.
Toussaint Louverture,
Right.
or any of those people, right?
And-
Or Dudley Bookman. Like,
Uh-huh.
what if I told you right now
And
that
if you read Willie Lynch's book, you read how to handle that.
Right,
how
right.
they handled it.
what if I told you right now that a mother walking off the plantation to mother her kids in a nearby plantation is a slave revolt? What if I told you that slaves slowing down to work? What if I told you slaves getting married and having children, choosing to have families? What if I told you slaves choosing to worship? What if I told you a slave like figuring out how to teach themselves how to read? And so what I'm telling you.
I hear what you're saying.
So what I'm telling
everything you're saying.
I know what I'm telling you is what we look at sometimes when we talk about slavery and a choice is we look at people who say, hey, there's this binary sort of matrix of what you can do. You can either stay on a plantation or you can die. But what I'm
Right.
saying is in the scope of humanity, there's a spectrum. And the spectrum means that
What's good, Todd?
like you had people that were overwhelmingly
Right.
cool with what they were.
With what they
then
were.
you had people that were true revolutionaries.
Right.
And then you had people that just in their lives made sure that they lived them as freely and as fully as possible.
So the revolutionaries.
and so but listen though.
Right.
And when you say
Uh-huh.
that we're praising people who were the revolutionaries, what I say is you're doing a disservice to your ancestors.
Why?
Because they survived so you could have that opinion. So when I'm telling you right now, what I'm telling you right now is that somebody
No.
God,
you
hold on,
see it as them
no,
surviving
no,
to have that opinion.
there's no way.
But I believe the change came because of the revolutionaries.
But you're wrong.
I'm not.
Okay.
Fortunately,
But
I'm not.
But what I would tell you right now. So let me ask you this then:
All right.
why do you think? Why
everything that you just mentioned?
Uh-huh.
Mothering children, caring for family members, caring for a wife, a sibling, whatever.
Right.
There's an activation within that, where even if you were raised, this is what happens to your people. These people are above you. This, that, da, 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 da.
Right.
Okay, cool. Love is so powerful,
Right.
that the love that you have might not even be for yourself, but for your wife, child, sibling, friend, whoever it was.
Right.
The moment you saw an act of
indecency.
not indecency.
Can I tell y'all something?
Hold on.
Yeah.
Horrific treatment
Right.
to either one of those people, something activates in you and says, this is wrong.
Let me tell you something real quick.
I don't care
I'm making
how long I've been a slave.
Hey, let me tell you something.
What I just saw is offsetting
Hey,
to me.
Math.
My child was just whooped.
Math.
My wife was just raped.
Math.
My friend was just hung.
Math. With love,
Something activates within you and says, this is wrong.
Hey, let me tell you something.
And
right
that
now.
activated in Harriet, it activated in Tucson, it activated
Let me tell you something right now. With love, I'm gonna tell y'all something.
But do you agree with what I'm saying?
No. With love, I'm gonna tell you something right now. With love to all of y'all. No other group of people that's overcome or been through anything as horrific as slavery does this to the people who went through it. Not one. You are not gonna get in this room. Hold on, wait a second.
Listen
You're not
to this.
gonna get in this room
I'll be glad to be the first.
Hold on. Well, you're not gonna get.
That's not what he's saying.
You're not gonna.
That's not what he's saying.
I'm glad to be the
Let me finish.
No, that's not what he's saying.
Let me
That's-
finish. Let me
you-
finish.
First?
Let me
You
finish.
might not want to be. if you-
Let me finish.
great.
You're
No,
not gonna get.
I hear you.
Hold on. You're not gonna get in this room a group of 8, 9, 10 Jewish brothers and sisters who are going to blame their ancestors for the Holocaust or the pogroms
not
or
blaming
anything
them.
else. Hold
I'm
on.
not blaming
Wait a second. Or anything else that happened, right? You're not going to get any group of people to assign weakness or say that any of those things were a choice. Because
Of course not. While they're accepting the privileges that come along with it, yeah.
Because implicit in saying that was a choice,
Right.
implicit in that
Okay.
is the idea that these people were either unable or unwilling to meet the task of accessing their own freedom. I
have no problem.
So what I'm telling you right now is
And that's not what I'm saying.
So what's happening right
not
now?
what I'm saying.
So what's happening right now is 1,000,000%, 1,000,000% the design of white supremacy. I'm telling black people right now, there was nothing wrong with your ancestors. And it don't matter what no rappers say. It don't matter what no podcast hosts say. It don't matter what nothing say.
Now that's the first part. Now let's talk about that. You asked how I can't agree with what Math is saying. That last part that you just heard Van say. You have to understand that when you put these things on people, you are not just giving them the title of, oh, it was just a choice. You are making them look weak. You are making them look like they wanted this to happen, like they signed up for this. Matter of fact, quite a lot of people cannot say, and I promise you, when you talk about people being abducted or people being taken from their homes or kids being taken or teenagers being taken and being held against their will, I've never heard one person say it was their choice. Not one. The blame went to the person that took that took that child or took that teenager or took that person and did what they did to them. When I speak on psychological shit, just like Mav talked about, let me tell you why what Mav said was a contradiction. When he brings up love, the feeling of love, You have to understand psychologically. Love isn't an action that you just, it's not just an action that you show somebody. It's also a feeling. Slaves were being terrorized on a daily, psychologically beaten down as well as physically. I cannot fault the slaves who did not do what Harriet Tubman did. I cannot fault them for not doing what the people that we revere and who we speak about in our history books did. I cannot fault them for not doing that. I give my ancestors more grace when it comes to that, because just like those white supremacists on the other side talk about when we bring up reparations, I've never been a slave in my life. I couldn't imagine going through some shit like that. I couldn't imagine having anybody today going through some shit like that. And then when you talk about a different demographics, let's talk about that. It wasn't their choice to get kidnapped either, but to live in it was a choice. Imagine getting taken from your home, not just your home. You didn't just get taken from your home to another city or another state. You got taken to another country. You don't know shit about the land. You don't know shit about the agriculture. You don't know shit about how to hunt out there, what to look for, what to eat, what not to eat. Tell me right now what a slave could have done besides die out there because they didn't even have the knowledge to do shit. They weren't able to read. They weren't able to educate themselves. They weren't able to defend themselves properly against what they had against them. And I guarantee you right now, somebody like a Harriet Tubman wouldn't sit there and say that the slaves that were left behind that couldn't come with them made that it was their choice to stay behind. It was their choice to be a slave. Because she understood what was happening. Why do you think she did what she did? See, this isn't a conversation to downplay the revolt, but this is also not a conversation to downplay slavery as a whole. The point that he made about other groups of people, and this just goes to the psychological point I was talking about earlier. We are the only group of people, bro, the only group of people who will sit here and try to downplay or minimize our own ancestors because of how much it has been minimized and downplayed our entire lives, our entire existence by this country and by people that hate us. You will not get, like he said, a Jewish person to sit in a room full of Jewish people and talk about how the Holocaust was the choice of Jewish people who were being slaughtered. You will not have an Asian person talk about how it was the choice of X, Y, and Z that happened to Asian people, so on, so forth. You're not going to get them to say that. And you want to know why? It's because they truly believe that what happened to them in those instances were horrific. You won't find them minimizing that because they'll never minimize. They don't even give society the chance or the opportunity to disrespect or minimize the experience of their ancestors. They don't give people that luxury. Only black people are the type of people that get that type of shit. How are we even having this conversation? It's crazy to me. But here's the last part of it.
There was nothing defective, nothing weak, nothing wrong, nothing bad about the people that endured for hundreds of years so that you could sit here on a podcast and talk this.
Oh, I can't let you do that.
That's what I'm just being for real.
I can't let you do that.
And Harriet was special, and Tucson was special. And
Why are
Frederick-
they special?
And Frederick
Why
Douglass
are
was
they
special.
special?
And
Why
all
are
of
they
those
special?
people were special.
Why they,
And all
Harriet
of those
said,
people were
I
special.
would have freed 1,000 more slaves if they knew that they was.
Do you know that she never said that?
All right, let me put it to you this way. When I mentioned that when you put a choice on there, it brings up other things and it gives room for other labels and other ways to be looked at. Clearly, the conversation that is being had, Math, in my opinion, has a perception that those slaves who decided to stay are weak. Getting beat every day, the threat of rape, mutilated, your kids taken from you, having this happen to you on a daily basis, to see it happen on a daily basis, to live through this on a daily basis is not for the weak. That is not for the weak. So I guess if you want to call it a choice, call it a choice if you want, but I can guarantee you right now, nobody can go through what any of our ancestors went through and then call themselves weak or say that they couldn't handle shit or say that they made a choice to stay in slavery. A lot of them slaves had to fight because they had families. A lot of these people couldn't just leave people behind. It wasn't just because he had a wife or children. He had a brother, he had a sister, he had a mother, he had a father, he had a brother, he had cousins, he had aunties, he had uncles. So we saying, Jack, we saying the same shit. If you saying they were fearful, not weak, then what we talking about? What we debating about? What we debating about? We have the same thought process. They were psychologically as well as physically beaten down. But let's listen to this last part. I don't want to keep stopping because I'm not going to be here long.
Right. So when I'm
So
when I'm telling you,
sound like some Harry.
So what I'm telling you right now is what I implore people to do.
Right.
What I implore people to do.
Who said that?
Is have an understanding of the makeup of America. Forget about that. Let's move back. Your ancestors come here to this country, right? Mm-hmm. They don't speak the language. Mm-hmm. They don't know the lay of the land. Mm-hmm. They can't hunt for themselves. They don't understand the animals. They can't fish for themselves. They don't understand this. It's hundreds of years. Hold on. It's hundreds of years here before they have an understanding of where they are or what's going on. It's a long time.
However, throughout those hundreds of years, there's plenty of rebellions happening.
Absolutely, there are rebellions that happen.
Right.
But what I'm telling you is,
who made the history books?
What?
Did Jimmy the Happy Slave?
Can I tell?
Did he make the history books?
Can I tell you why?
Did Jimmy the Happy?
That's the ignorant shit I don't like though. I fuck with math, but that's that weird shit that I don't like. When you start talking about history books and shit like that, who made the history books? What does making the history books have to do with what any of that means?
Slave.
Can I tell you why though?
Make the history book.
Can I tell you?
Did you ever read about the happy slave?
Bro,
Hey, Matt.
Has anyone in here ever picked up a book and was like,
Nobody's
this is about the happy slave?
Matt.
Did anyone?
Matt, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, those are called house niggas. those are called house niggas, Mav Hoffa. The happy slave was house niggas. And yes, plenty of people, including I, have read about them in books because they put them in there.
Can I ask you a question?
No, right?
Who wrote the history that you're talking about?
I don't know. You tell me.
So I'm gonna tell you the history that you're talking about to me.
Kanye also said he was off selling pills at the time. So
why would they give you
not all of it?
Well, the majority of it, right?
Yeah.
So why
the
would
accounts in Haiti that was recorded?
So why would they?
They were educated.
Why would they give you in Haiti? Culturally, is a different situation than what we're talking about on the American continent.
We're talking about slaves, right?
But we're not. When we're talking about Haiti, you're talking about a different structure of slavery. You're talking about a different group. You're talking about a whole different thing.
About slavery.
You're talking about a smaller.
We are still talking about a revolution against slavery. We're still talking about that. No. Let's just agree on that. We're still talking about a revolution against slavery.
But it's different though. It's not the same thing. The island is a lot smaller. The people are a lot different.
What does that mean?
Well, what I'm telling you right
Ireland
now
is a lot smaller, and they fought off a French fleet.
Right. Well, what I'm telling you is here in America, the area is a lot larger.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of weaponry and what they were up against was a lot different than what it was in Haiti. That's to take nothing away from Toussaint and Diddy.
Question for y'all in the chat. This is for everybody. Let's say you were a slave, right? Now, once again, we don't know what it's like to be a slave, so we can't just put ourselves in that mindset. But let's just say you were a slave, right? You had a family. You had a wife. You had kids. Because you had the courage and because you had the will and the power to revolt, to leave. Let's say your wife didn't. Let's say your kids didn't. Are you going to leave your wife and children because you have the courage and you have the will and the power to revolt and leave? That's the bigger picture I'm trying to open to people, because they think that these motherfuckers that revolted was just by themselves. It's like they had to make some crucial choices. A lot of people in math brought up love. Like he said, when you love somebody and you see somebody getting beaten, or when you see somebody getting raped, or when you see somebody getting mistreated, something in you says this is wrong. But when you have a family, are you going to leave them in that situation because they don't have the courage to leave or the will to leave? When you have young children and teenagers and a wife and all this other shit, other family members around you, are you going to leave, or are you going to stay and be there with them? Tell me. Because it seems like that choice, to me, you either make a righteous choice or a righteous choice. So I guess, yes, slavery was a choice, but a righteous choice because of the circumstances. Now, I'm not saying that for the people that just wanted to be a slave and said, fuck it, I have no other option. I'm talking about different circumstances that happen in life with people and their families that have held them to not leave or have to go on a revolt because they had to think of other things besides themselves. Now, answer that question, everybody in the chat, if you can.
Bookman and everything that happened in Haiti.
Right.
Haiti, to me, is one of the most crowning achievements of the Western world. What I'm telling people like yourself and like Kanye is that you don't have enough reverence for your ancestors. And you don't have enough reverence for what they went through, who they were, and how they endured for you to be here. And the reality is,
and they did not endure for me to be here.
They absolutely
no,
did.
they did not.
Your ancestors
you don't even know
didn't.
where my ancestors are from.
Right, okay.
You're making false claims.
Okay, where are your ancestors from?
Okay, my ancestors are from England.
Well, how do you mean?
My grandfather is from England.
So
and
you
my other great grandfather is
so
from Scotland.
So your ancestors were never slaves?
Not to say that on my mother's side, there's probably.
Then what the fuck are you talking
lines or
about? If your
whatever,
ancestors are slaves,
but they
we're
did
talking
not
about the same
endure.
thing.
But we're not talking about people that endured. We're not talking about.
If your ancestors were slaves, we're talking about the same
That's not the
thing.
reason it's over, bro.
Right. So, are you an American?
The slaves fight in the Civil War.
Are you a descendant?
The slaves fight in the Civil War.
They did. Are you a descendant?
They did.
Are you a
Why did they fight?
Are
in
you
the
a
Civil
descendant
War?
of slaves?
To end.
Are you a descendant of slaves?
I couldn't tell you.
So you don't know.
No.
So let me ask you this, man.
Maybe I'm not, because I don't feel the affinity towards.
Matt, do you feel like you've done enough work on this? You feel like you know what you're talking about?
I do.
I think what you're giving me right now is a lot of anecdotal stuff about how you feel like people should move.
I think that's what you're doing.
How so?
Because, again, have you ever read a book on Jimmy the Happy Slave?
No, but I never said.
Never. Hold on.
I never said the slaves were happy.
You've never. But yet we praise Harriet. We praise Nat.
Okay.
We praise Toussaint. Why?
We praise them because they're symbols.
They're symbols.
So this is where the confliction comes in. The confliction of opinions come in, because I'm glad. See, this is why at the top of the show I said I'm glad if you have a difference of opinion of this situation, to not be afraid to let your opinion shine in the chat. And I'm glad Jack is doing this so that we can have this healthy debate back and forth. Jack says, the courage and conviction bring the change. If I want my family out, I'm gonna have to do something drastic. If that means me leaving them behind, so be it. What's for me will get back to me. Now, some may say that is a weak action to leave your family behind, because selfishly, you want to get away from a situation that you don't want to deal with, but not thinking about the fact that your family will have to continue to deal with that back at the place that you left. A lot of the structure in a family, especially then and so forth, comes from the strength of the man in the family who's supposed to lead his family. If I was in a burning building with my family, I'm not going to walk out the burning building without my family. I am going to try to save us, and if I can't, we all burning the fuck up. That's just me. Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't revolt, and I'm not saying that I wouldn't try to get my family to revolt, because I understand that. But I'm not going to make the decision to leave my family behind because they can't make the same movement that I'm making to try to leave this motherfucker. It's very easy for one person to make a decision themselves to say, hey, I'm just going to go because it's easier to be on my own than to be with my family. But then, to me, that's just not giving a fuck about your family. That's only giving a fuck about yourself.
Symbols of what we're supposed to be?
No.
Why not?
They're symbols of people who were able to.
So we're not supposed to be like them. That's what you're saying.
No, I'm telling you.
We're not. We're supposed to be like.
Because I know you're not under the. I know Jack's not under the. Doesn't have the assumption, or he's not saying that the slaves that stay behind are weak. But that's the reason why I'm having the conversation, and I think that's where we misunderstood our points. Because the reason I'm talking about this is because I feel like Math feels that the slaves that did not revolt and that did not leave the plantation were weak. And you have to remember, it does not take a weak person to go through what slaves went through. And the other variables that play and have a factor in people's decisions, like I said, with family and different shit like that.
I'm not talking.
I'm asking.
Okay. So know what we're supposed to be? Whatever we want to be. That's freedom. Freedom is not, hold on. Freedom is not being who somebody else thinks you're supposed to be. And that person could be Matt Hoffa, it could be white America, whatever. Freedom is being what you want to be.
Right.
And when I talk about, remember, I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, right?
Mm-hmm.
And being from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, I'm from a place where old black people tell you old black stories.
Mm-hmm.
And what they tell you is they say, look at that tree. They say there's souls on that tree. There are people that got brought to that tree. Because even if we talk about slavery, take slavery out of it.
Right.
How did black people live and endure outside of the 7 mystic years after slavery? How did black people live and endure in 1905? Let me ask you this. Why
are you asking me these questions?
Because I want to make sure that you know what you're talking about before we get to
I know what I'm talking. Okay.
So
all right, hold on.
At what point?
Hold on. These questions don't negate my main point.
Absolutely. So let me just ask you something.
Why do we praise the people who saw it as a choice, but then turn around and say it wasn't a choice?
It wasn't a choice. But let me ask you this.
Does anybody follow that?
I do follow.
You can't
I do. But Matt,
you all believe that it wasn't a choice.
No, Matt, I follow you, but the framework of what you're saying is
Who
wrong.
are these people we praise then?
What?
Are they anomalies?
No, they're.
Were they aliens from another planet?
So would you say that the only people worth revering from the civil rights movement?
I'm not saying that. History's saying that.
No.
Don't put that
the
on me.
history that you're
History's
giving
saying that.
me.
Because again, you've never read a book about Jimmy the Happy Slave, right?
Like
No,
history,
okay.
But that's not true. There are all kinds of books and accounts of the lives of slaves.
Have you ever read a book about a slave that said,
This is why we can't be obsessed with fame.
I'm living.
Math is obsessed with the famous people from slavery. Math is obsessed with the famous. I'm telling you right now.
You know what that is right there? That's ninja smoke. Get out of this subject.
Hey, Matt,
that's what that is.
Hey, no. I'm gonna be real with you. When this comes out,
man, shit.
No, I'm gonna be real with you. When this comes out, forget about that.
Listen, and I
I'm not even gonna tell you.
No. I have no problem with that.
You're gonna look wild.
I have no problem with that.
But
No. I have no problem with that.
I know you don't.
Because there's a lot of people who rather get their pockets dug and slapped in the face than stand up for themselves.
Okay.
And for me, when I'm always going to preach, I got 2 boys. Mm-hmm. What I'm going to preach to them is to always be cautious,
right?
But to stand up for yourself. For my girls, I'm going to always preach. Okay, don't find yourself in no bad situations, but if you do, fight for your fucking life.
Right, fight for your
You
life.
dig what I'm saying?
And I understand that. And what I'm telling you right now is that that's the way that they should be. But
Now, let's get to this. Let's get to this before we get out of here. That was pretty much the rest of that conversation, but let's get to this before we get out of here. Listen up. My man said, Jack said, I ain't worried about what some say when I'm trying to bring change. If you can't take my direction, you don't deserve my protection. If I'm telling my family we need to get out and they want to stay, bye. All right, I understand that. But if there was something that actually came forth with what these people did, like if you have to ask yourself what Harriet Tubman's place in the history books is, besides our love and respect and how much we revere her, did that actually bring forth the change to where slavery came to an end? Did they say, oh, we have to end slavery because Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass and all these other people are trying to revolt and trying to make a change? Like, do you think that's the reason why slavery ended, or do you think it ended because they've gotten 400 years of slavery out of motherfuckers and they needed to do something else with the shit? It's like, whether you revolted or not, the only thing that happened when people left was getting into more bullshit. Because right after slavery ended, we still had years of segregation, racism, bigotry, violence. It's 2023. We still trying to talk about reparations for what happened in slavery. I don't want to have, we already have a divide when it comes to certain shit as a people. Now we're starting to divide slaves. It's the craziest shit that's happening right now in this type of discussion. Like, why are we dividing the slaves who didn't run with the slaves who did run? We have no type of, not even the slightest idea of what it was like. Now, leading the family, I understand that. I agree with that. But these circumstances that I'm giving, when you are somebody who has a family in these type of conditions where we cannot, I can't fathom. I don't even know how, like, I can't even think of doing something like that. I can't even think of leaving them behind in a situation like that's basically leaving somebody in hell. That's basically saying you will blame them for having the fear of dying because they want their freedom. That's saying that you would rather your kids grow up in a environment where they're susceptible of being raped and brutally beaten or even murdered because, hey, they ain't trying to leave with me. You don't even have a sense of direction back then. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? More south, west, east, north, where you don't know where you're going. People like Harriet Tubman got inside information on where to go. She didn't just wake up one day and say, I'm just going to start walking. To think that all these slaves who were not able, there was a reason why they weren't able to read. There was a reason why they couldn't be educated. These motherfuckers didn't know where to go. You would have just ran. You would have ran right into another fucking plantation. You know, like, you don't have a car, you don't have a horse, you know what I'm saying? You don't have a bike. You are on foot. There's so many different variables that go into this shit. Escaping was not easy. That was not an easy thing to do. Imagine the people that just ended it all right there on that plantation because, like I said, they didn't have the knowledge. They didn't know what else to do. They didn't even want to be involved in slavery. They said, fuck it. Are those people weak? Because like you said, if you choose death over choosing slavery, that makes you a strong person. We try to call people weak nowadays for taking the easy route out of life because they think life is too hard now. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. I cannot look at the ones who stay behind as anything else than my ancestors who I value and I respect and have nothing negative to put on them at all. Not even the label of a choice, regardless of how you want to look at it. Avenue P says, we're talking about a scale of mass genocide that hasn't been seen since, and people in 2023 act like they know what they do, what they would do, put in that situation. And this is what I'm saying. Like, we're in the generation where people, not even just this generation, we have, ever since slavery has been over, or even since it's been a thing, people have downplayed black people in this country. They've downplayed slavery. They've downplayed segregation. They've downplayed racism. They've downplayed bigotry. They've downplayed white supremacy. They've downplayed everything. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying, man. That's all I'm saying. Tokchamp said, point is, if you were strong enough to revolt, you did. If you wasn't, you died. If you was wrong enough to keep up, you saved yourself. Jack Jones said, you can't, but I can. That's the beauty. You got to be ready to die to go high. We aware of the reasons, but who said I'm going out there blind? That's what I mean, you would have to actually try to figure that out first. That's another thing. So another point proven. While you're about to sit back and figure out how you're going to revolt, how you're going to leave this plantation, you have to try to find somebody who knows where to go. You have to figure that shit out. How do you even go about figuring that out? How does that word of mouth get to you? We don't have, they couldn't send no carrier pigeons. Wasn't no mail. They had to try to figure this. Like, I'm telling you right now, the slaves that were able to revolt got lucky to find out the knowledge. Thank God they got lucky enough to get the knowledge that they did to try to go north. The songs that they would sing, trying to help each other and trying to use code, that was code. Think about the women that had to stay behind so that they men, like I believe Jack would have done, hoping that you would have been like, all right, well, if we got to get out of here, I got to put in the footwork, or I got to put in the work to try to find out how we can get out of here first, because maybe your wife doesn't want to just lead out in blindness and be like, yeah, just because you said we got to leave doesn't mean we have to run in blindness, run without a plan, run without knowing where we're going. Figure out where we're going first. Figure out how we can do this without harming ourselves and our children. Then yeah, let's do that. I'm also not against people finding a way to revolt. I'm just trying to say that the circumstances, we have to understand and remember the circumstances of what people went through back then, and not minimize it, especially us, because it's always us. And then it gives that other side the excuse. You give them more talking points to say against us because, well, look, other black people say it's okay. Other black people said it was a choice. Think about that. Think about the narrative. If you believe in reparations, at the least, having these talking points doesn't help our situation. To say that it was a choice, be like, well, see, black people are saying slavery is a choice. Why would we give them reparations for something they felt they chose to do? Totally negating and forgetting the fact that they were forced to be in slavery. that they were beaten, raped, and killed by the masses. Like that didn't play any part in slavery. Do you get what I'm saying? This is the avenue I want us to go down. I want us to understand, really try to understand all the different variables in this shit without just saying shit, because that shit matters. That shit really does matter. Now, I don't think there'll ever be an instance where I agree that slavery was a choice, but I do believe that now today, having that mentality of the white man keeping you down and there are no opportunities for you to succeed in life, I do think that is a choice, that mindset. Having the mindset like that is a choice. Having the mindset of following an organization like BLM is a choice. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm looking at today. If we want to talk about anything being a choice, let's talk about the things that we can experience and that we know of today. We can't speak for what happened during slavery. If any of us had any idea what it was like, we wouldn't even have an opinion on the shit. That's what I'm trying to move away from, man. Trying to get us in that right mindset. Don't be complacent, don't be weak, but also understand your surroundings, understand what's around you, understand reality. People are slaves to their phones right now, to their cellular devices. Let a motherfucker lose their phone today, they wouldn't know what the fuck to do with themselves, knowing damn well you got everything up here. We have become a society that's so hyper-focused on Google searches that we are actually forgetting how real life works. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying this for anybody that disagrees with me. This is just in the broad spectrum of things, like just how society is. We have allowed ourselves to depend on electronics so much and technology that we are slowly forgetting how reality works and how different things can affect you in different ways. To think about this shit, we call ourselves technologically advanced, but it's moving us backwards as a human race. Because this electronic shit, this technology is not going to last forever. There's no way it's going to last forever. That's a fact. There's going to be a time where people have to go back to learning the basics and trying to do things how it was before technology came in and took everything over. And nobody's going to know how to do that. Nobody. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's pretty much illegal to grow your own food. You have to have permission from your own government to grow food in your backyard. Why do you think that is? See, when I talked about how slavery ended, when I said, was it Harriet Tubman or was it the fact that they just needed to change shit up? Because it wasn't us. It wasn't no revolts. It's because they had a new plan in place. It took them 400 years, but shit, they put the plan in place. And look how this shit has turned out. To where society, regular society, has to depend on an entity that wants to cripple you and hold you and keep you as a slave. Why would we only have black people as slaves when we can have everybody be our slaves? Think about that. Really think about that shit. This is why I talk about the certain things I talk about today. Like, I'm not hyper focused on trying to prove racism exists. You want to know why? Because that is exactly what this place wants you to do. They want you to be hyper focused on racial issues. They want to race bait you. They want to do all that shit just to keep you in the mindset of lower vibrations, fighting amongst each other, divide and conquer. Which is why even when I said earlier about politics, I don't care about politics. I don't care about Republicans. I don't care about Democrats. I don't care about none of that shit in the office. These people are orchestrating how to keep everybody in line. We should be governing ourselves. We should be policing ourselves. We should be doing for ourselves. We shouldn't be paying taxes. We shouldn't be giving none of our money to a government that is only going to use it for their own benefit. But this is the type of shit that I have me banned from this platform. I don't want to get too deep into it, but trust me, there was a whole deeper conversation that I wanted to go into. Shout out to Jeff. He said, we confuse wisdom with access to information. The janitor got keys to the library. Shout out to Jeff Brown in the building. He said slavery was abolished because the North could not sustain cotton and tobacco like the South, period. Had nothing to do, and this is with all respect due to those who revolted, those who fought, those who died, those who went through hell being a slave and running away from slavery. This is with all due respect and love, genuine love, authentic love. They did not end slavery for you. That is a fact. That is a cold, hard fact. So having the conversation of whether or not slavery was a choice is actually it means nothing compared to what that shit actually did. What did that spark? What did that do besides try to give us some encouragement to let us know that we didn't have to be in that mentality? It's I don't want to get too hype around this shit because I don't want to keep going down into the rabbit hole, man. I don't want to get too shadow banned out here. They already shadow banned this channel. I'm not trying to get too in the depths. I like seeing y'all. I like seeing when y'all pop up on here. You know what I'm saying? I don't want them to fuck that up for me. Jack Jones said, everybody were and still are slaves. Blacks just got it more over here. Ramal said it was a business move. Yep. Jeff says Republican and Democrat are the left and right wings of the same filthy ass bird that has picked our bones clean for centuries. You dead ass on, young Jedi. Yes. See, I was once caught up in racial bullshit for years, and that's not even me downplaying the things that we went through. It's not downplaying racism. It's not downplaying white supremacy. It's just speaking the facts of how it's so easy to go on the internet, to open your phone, go to one of these apps, and immediately see some shit that triggers you, because it's easy to trigger black people. It's easy to trigger white people. It's easy to trigger Asians. It's easy to trigger Mexicans. It's easy to trigger different groups of people when you put in front of their face different instances that show that motherfuckers don't care about them. But what they all have in common is that nobody gives a fuck about nobody. But when you post it and you send it to a certain demographic, oh, that's why I hate algorithms. As much as algorithms has benefited certain people in life and made a lot of different motherfuckers rich, algorithms have been put here to trigger and to divide and conquer the public. Ask yourself, when you go on these platforms, mainly Twitter. I don't know how many of y'all have a Twitter, but I do. I've seen a lot of shit happen over the years. I've had a Twitter since 2009. I have seen the difference. Trust me. from seeing everything to only seeing what they think you want to see. Ask yourself, when the shit was going on between 2020 and 2022, all you saw was a bunch of race baiting ass shit that was happening on the internet. And between that time, it had a lot to do with racism against black people. A lot of things that were going on was against black people. Now, because white people didn't like to see that. See, this is a nice thing that they like to do. See, white people like Elon Musk. See, when they have an incredible amount of money, they will try to go and they will actually go and fucking try to buy these platforms so that they can change the trajectory of how things are going. So now it went from a whole bunch of racist shit happening with black people and black people seeing a bunch of shit with racism on the end of, or with them on the other end of it, to all of a sudden white people seeing a bunch of shit of black people doing shit to white people. And now it's like, oh, look, because of 2020 and 2021 and 2022, now a bunch of black people are assaulting white people for no reason. Pulling up old videos from 5-6 years ago and making it seem like this shit is happening today. This is happening on purpose. And as long as they keep the general public in that bubble, they can continue to do what the fuck they want to do. They can continue to change laws and make it to where you got to do X, where they don't change the wages and people still, they get their rent raised, but they fucking, the wages stay the same. The gas prices going up because they trying to say that it's this, but it's really because they trying to get them pandemic funds back. These motherfuckers are unhinged and they will do what they want and do what they have to and want to get what they want, from a large scale to a smaller scale. Imagine this, my whole state, Minnesota, by the majority of this state says yes, legalize marijuana all across the board, recreationally, all that shit. But here you have a select few politicians inside this house who are saying, fuck what you're talking about. Fuck what you want, people. It's what we want. It's what I want. But aren't you an elected official? An elected official? That means people had to vote you in, the people that you said you were supposed to serve for. You're supposed to serve the people. They don't serve shit. They serve themselves. This is an elevated version of slavery. Let me just tell you, I haven't seen anyone more free than a homeless man. And that is a harsh fact. Ain't nobody more free in America than a homeless person. Even the richest person in the world is going through it. Elon Musk is worth $1 billion. This motherfucker got to walk around going to different interviews talking about the shit he hates. Why? You're a fucking billionaire who is a genius who can build space rockets. Why the fuck are you going around talking about what you don't like? Why are you buying Twitter to change the conversations and to change the algorithm so that shit can be more to what you like? And because shit is bitch, what's wrong with you? I thought money brought happiness. There's a nigga on Skid Row right now having the time of his life being more genuinely happy than Elon Musk, who is a goddamn billionaire. I guarantee you. I'm just saying. Yeah, Jack Jones said the same taxes they used in slave days, they just revamped it today. You right. Jeff says there is no longer a need for regular average people of any color. Robots do jobs. You are in a fight for your regular ass life. You're right. You're right. And we talked about this when the robotics started making their rounds. When you started seeing the little hands first, it started with the hands. Started with the little robotic hands, you know what I'm saying? The little assembly line hands. Just doing this shit. Choo, 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 choo. You're right. Touche. Touche, Jack. Too fucking shade. That was good. That was good, motherfucker. That was good. He said, I got this, motherfucker. You're right. You're absolutely right. There's no, I don't have a rebuttal for that. You're absolutely right. You got me. But you know, like it starts there, the robotic arms, and you start getting to the full robotics. Now they trying to make the fun shit. Oh, look at this robotic dog that we got prancing along. Then next thing you know, that robotic dog turned into a robotic fucking police dog. Like, I'm telling you, I know y'all done seen that four-legged robotic dog looking shit that prances around, that ain't got no head. It's just a body and four legs, and it can run his ass off. Self-driving cars. You ain't got to drive nowhere. They bringing in the self-driving semi-trucks so that they can make truck drivers obsolete. They tired of paying all these truck drivers all this good money for doing their hard work every single day, traveling all through this fucking country. So they want to make it to where they got self-driving 18-wheelers. The warehouses. Look, man, it's going to be an interesting next 10 to 20 years. I just hope y'all stay vigilant. Y'all stay with your common sense. Y'all stay with, keep your head on the swivel, man. Don't let yourself fall victim to this social media, this technology game. We gotta keep our human side. We gotta be able to maintain these natural abilities that we have, man. They want us to be vegetables out here. Toksham said, you only live once, and guess what? A dope fiend told me that. Jeff says marijuana is legal for one reason. William Randolph Hearst, he was afraid of hemp replacing paper and did a smear campaign to blame loose white women screwing us on weed. Watch Fab Five Freddy's documentary. Yeah, I did. I definitely heard about that. I heard about that. That one of the first things that I heard about, because, of course, marijuana is demonized very badly, and we all know why it is. It's an old white tactic. They tried this shit, man. Jeff, if you would have seen the debate that took place here in Minnesota where they actually passed the vote, we got one vote left, but when the vote passed for recreational marijuana, the debates that they had, like the people that were opposing it, you had one older white gentleman who came up talking about, one of my constituents visited New Orleans, and he was out there with his family, and they were out eating, and all of a sudden they heard gunshots, and they all got under the table, and they looked around, and they see the waitress like, hey, there's gunshots, and the waitress was like, oh, it's okay, they won't shoot over here, and he was like, well, call the police, and the waitress said, oh no, we can't call the police, because if the police come, then they'll get shot at, and then after they left the restaurant, they went back to their hotel, and they said they saw people standing on the sidewalk and even outside of the entrance of their hotel smoking marijuana. Fear-mongering ass white tactics. How you gonna talk about a story about a restaurant getting shot up and then end it with people saying that the people that saw it or experienced it went to their hotel and saw some people smoking weed on the sidewalk, and that was like, oh, he said that's what made his constituent reverse his support for legalizing marijuana. That story right there, that story that I just told, I'm not trying to confuse you. I did not misspeak. I did not butcher the story. That's exactly what happened. He said that his constituent who was supportive of marijuana legalization went to New Orleans, gunfire erupted, and then he left, And he went to his hotel and there was people smoking weed on the sidewalk and he just said, you know what? Fuck this marijuana shit. I don't support it no more. Think about that shit. Those are the stupid motherfuckers we got making choices for us in office. It's crazy out here. But anyway, I know I went on a tangent. I went on a little bit of a tangent. I'm high this morning. Had to wake and bake. Well, this afternoon now, we started at 12. It is now 1:16 here in Minnesota. I want to say thank y'all for pulling up, man. I don't usually do the show on Thursday, but the fact that y'all pulled up on Thursday and we had this dope-ass discussion, man, I thank y'all so much and I appreciate you. Everybody that has something to do with today's show, I appreciate you. I'm going to shout everybody out. Jeff in the building. Shout out to the OG Jedi, man. Jeff Brown is in the building, man. Shout out to you, man. Had Avenue P in here, man. King Lukey was in the building. Shout out my guy JR Miller, man. Toke Champs was here. Jack Jones, appreciate you, brother, and your insight today, man. You kept the live chat live. I thank you for your position, your perspective, and your opinion. Appreciate you, brother. Shout out to Jack Jones. CDT Beats is in the building. Ramal was here. We had Clot in the building. Avenue P. Jonathan Glenn was here. Kid Gravity was in the building. Shout out to him. Y'all go check him out on his YouTube channel. Kid Gravity is a real one. He be having some dope topics, man. Very dope insight as well. Shout out Quick Stanfield. I see y'all, man. Wonder Man was here. Benjamin was here. William was here. The informationalist was here. Shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to y'all. Much love, man. GMS fam, the green room. Much love, much love. I'm definitely going to see y'all tomorrow, too. Like I said, no 3Gs tomorrow. My brother AP is going to be out of town on vacation. Shout out to AP. Shout out to Pac G. Shout out to Binky, my 3Gs family. We will be in here tomorrow. I'm doing an open show, man. I'm going to open up the show for everybody. I'm going to do the StreamYard shit. I'm going to send the link out if you want to join the show, have a conversation, chop it up. Join in tomorrow afternoon. We're going to be right here on the GMS show. Thank y'all so much, baby. Smoke some. We out.